Many of us in the planner community made some big changes to our planning systems this year. That includes planner layouts, the size or amount of planners in your system, and maybe even your planning style. While changes can be exciting and open up new possibilities, there's always a little adjustment period until you're comfortable in your new planner, and during this time, you might feel a little disoriented, overwhelmed, and maybe start to question whether you made the right decision in the first place. If this sounds like you, you're not alone. I'm China and I am right there with you. For the past 3 weeks, I've been feeling a little disoriented about my planning system and starting to second guess whether I made the right decision. But don't worry, today I will be sharing 5 tips to help you settle into your planner and show you how these tips help me feel comfortable and fall in love with my new planning system. So maybe you just started in your new planner or you've been using your planner for a few weeks now and something just doesn't feel right. The first tip is to identify differences between your old planner and your new planner that may be challenging in the future or are presenting challenges for you right now. Now, these changes might be really obvious. Let's say you're moving from a book-bound system to a disc or ring-bound system, so you might have a hard time maneuvering around the disc or having to add inserts or opening and closing the rings. But sometimes these differences aren't always that obvious. So this year I decided to move from a mini Happy Planner to this Sterling Ink Common Planner, and I thought this transition would be pretty easy because I'm going from one vertical layout to another. But when I opened up the spread for my first week, I just had such a hard time putting pen to paper. And I realized it was because I had these really defined lines here in the Happy Planner that are missing in the Common Planner that really helped me differentiate one day to the next. So all of this kind of smeared together in my mind. And then over continued using of the Happy Planner, I had really subconsciously gotten used to these 3 boxes here in the Happy Planner that made me think of morning, noon, and evening. So while this looks like it should be an easy transition, this was a complete roadblock to me as far as really settling in and feeling comfortable in my planner. And that may be happening to you as well. When we often think about making changes to our planners or our planner systems, we think about all the ways that it's going to help us and all the doors that it might open for us and how easy it's going to be. And we often don't take the time to think about how, while we want to make these changes, there might be some difficulties or challenges that come along with making that change. So taking the time to sit and really think about what the holdup or what the block is to really settling into your planner allows you to now have these things in mind and be able to develop a strategy to move forward. Now, after you've identified some differences between your old and new planning system, the next tip is to bring elements from your old planning system into your new one to bring some familiarity and comfort into your new planner or planner system. So to me, that looked like making my spread for the first week, and my Common Planner looked like one of the successful spreads that were functional to me in my Happy Planner. So this is what my first spread looks like in my Common Planner, and this is what my spread looked like in a Happy Planner that I felt like I was able to be functional with. So the first thing that I did here was I started with my sidebar, and every week I was putting my habits in my sidebar and then a running to-do list. And as soon as I put this down, my brain was like, okay, we can do this. This isn't as different as we thought it was. And that muscle memory started to kick in, and I was able to do the rest of the spread. Another thing that I was doing in my Happy Planner to be as functional as I could was to separate my appointments and schedule at the top and then have a place for my to-do list separated from the appointments on my spread. So I moved that into my Common Planner as well. So I have my schedule here at the top, and then I put all of my tasks here at the bottom, divided with some washi. And this was a great jumping off point for me. I also brought other elements into the spread, like using my dark pen to highlight my appointments, as well as using a highlighter for my step counts. And as the week went on, I started to feel more comfortable and familiar because this looked to me like something that I had used before. So if you were in a disc-bound system and now you're in a book-bound system and you're used to maybe a little insert for your to-do list, maybe you can use some washi and tip in a to-do list for that week, and then when the week is over, you can take that out. But there are ways to build in some similarity from your old system to your new until you figure out what adjustments you need to make this book work for you. The third tip is to experiment by making small changes to your layout or your planning routine over time. So in this layout here, I experimented with a few different things. I was trying to figure out whether I wanted to use check marks or X's to denote that I had completed a task. I started to experiment with different size fonts. I realized I was taking up a lot of space here, so throughout the week I was adding in appointments and making the font smaller. I was experimenting with different ways to write in the spread, a gratitude list here at the bottom, and I was just throwing essentially everything at the wall to kind of see what I liked and what I didn't like. And I also just succumbed to the fact that this probably wasn't going to be the best spread that I made this year, but that's okay. We're still trying to figure things out. So taking this time to just try everything. Sometimes we don't know. Again, we come up with these ideas of what our planners are going to look like and our spreads are going to look like when we order our planner, and it really just takes some experimenting and trying new things to figure out what is going to work in this particular planner that we have, our planner system, or even this season. So just try. I even tried crossing things out. I didn't like that, but you don't know until you try. Now, after you've tried a few different elements or techniques in your spread, you're then going to evaluate those changes and take an inventory of what worked and what didn't, and then you will toss what didn't work and move what did work into your next week's spread, or if you're working on a monthly or a daily spread, or you can even make those changes right away. So for me, what worked here is that I loved all the space that I had. I loved that I was able to write a complete to-do list and not have to pick and choose what went in this to-do list, unlike what I had to do with my mini happy planner. I liked that I could tell my appointments here, and that I had enough space for a gratitude list. What I didn't like is that I felt like I wasn't using the sidebar effectively. This habit space took up a lot of space, and then my to-do list was getting really redundant because I had enough space to write what I needed to do here throughout the week. So I oftentimes had something here and something here, and I didn't feel like that was a good use. And then because I was able to write more fleshed out to-do lists, I ended up having my work tasks mixed in with my personal task, and my brain just really had a hard time separating the two. So there's a lot that I did like, but there are some things that still needed some tweaking. So let's take a look at my second week here in my Common Planner. So this is what my second week looks like. You can see that I changed the habits. I used dot markers to make a dot for each day of the week, and I use less space here this week than I did the week before. And then I didn't like how the gratitude list was spread along the bottom, so I put a nice gratitude list in the sidebar. What I did then was leave this section out so that I had space for a priority of the day. So if I didn't do anything else that day, as long as I got this one task done, then that would be good. And I separated my spread, instead of schedule and to-do lists, into work and personal. And this allowed me to separate my to-do list as well. And I felt really good in this spread. You can see that I'm adding in some little icon stickers here. I'm starting to feel comfortable. This is starting to feel good to me. Now, once you do your experiment and evaluation, your fifth tip is to be patient and stay consistent. Continue to experiment and evaluate over time until you find a planning style, layout, or system that feels not only comfortable to you, but also productive to you. And that's whatever purpose you have for that particular planner or planner system in your life. Things are going to take time. If you've been working in a particular planner or system for years, you're not going to automatically feel comfortable and adjust to a new system. It's going going to take a lot of trial and error, and that's absolutely okay. Your spreads don't have to look perfect every week, but as long as it's productive and fulfilling that purpose that you have for you, then you are on the right track. And so just keep doing multiple times of experimenting and evaluating. So from this spread, my second spread here, a lot of it did work for me. I didn't really like this line here. And what really didn't work is that I tried to do a little bit of decorating, and I just felt like this decoration took up good space that I could have used on Saturday and Sunday to really plan out my day. So I took that information and I put it into this week's spread, which is January 15th through the 21st. And yes, this is it. We've arrived. I absolutely love this. I got rid of the line here. I didn't set up any decoration ahead of time. And because my work schedule, I work during the day, separating that work from personal ended up kind of loose time blocking for me. So I still have a separation of my work task and my work appointments from my personal task and my personal appointments. And I'm still able to put my daily step count. I have my habits and my gratitude list. And I love that I'm able to essentially tell a little story of my day in each column. So this is feeling pretty good to me. There's probably still a few things that I'll change, and I'll evaluate that at the end of the week. So I hope that after watching this video, if you're still struggling to really settle into your planner, that you take some of these tips and utilize them, and that they're helpful to you. Again, just be patient, things will work out. And also, if the changes that you decided to make really don't work for you, it's absolutely okay to either go back to your old planning system and try something new. There's never anything wrong. If something doesn't work for you, you don't have to make it work. So with that, please comment down below if you have any tips for settling into a new planner. Maybe that's a new planner for the new year, or just you wanted to try something new. I would love to hear what you have to say, and I'm sure the community would love other tips as well. Thank you for joining me for this video, and I will see you in my next one.